if you've been following my channel for any extended period of time, you might know that I am a big Godzilla fan. A few years ago, actually back in 2014, so close to 3 years ago, I did my massive Godzilla movie review series in preparation for the Legendary Pictures film. I think it was early 2015, I posted a full video with all the movie reviews included in one video, and I think it totaled to about 9 hours long. So, I'm kind of a fan, kind of like the kaijus, kind of like Godzilla, one of my cinematic heroes. And I didn't do anything big this time around to prepare for Shin Godzilla, the new Japanese Godzilla film that's coming out, or already came out in Japan. It's getting a limited theatrical release here in the States, October 11th through October 18th. And yes, I have already purchased my ticket. And thank God, with the limited theatrical release, one of the theaters that is playing it is one that happens to be 5 minutes from my home. So I don't have to go that far to see it. I'm seeing it next Saturday. So if you are in the Germantown, Maryland area and thinking about checking out a Godzilla movie at the local Regal Theater, I will be there as well. So that's a thing. And I'm really happy, very excited about it. But like I said, I didn't really have time to do a massive video series talking about it. I wouldn't have known what I've been able to do. Once I did the movie reviews of the entire series, I kind of feel like I blew my load on that, I like, what else is there to really do? I guess I could have gone over all the other kaiju films that have been released over the years. All of these suckers. I got Rodan and War of the Gargantuas, two of my favorites. On this set, I have the original Mothra film, which I saw earlier this year, about a month ago. It was the Rift Track live special. The original Mothra, so that was cool. I also own the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy. Admittedly, not that great, but they exist, and I like kaiju, so I own it. Also, there's the Gamera series. I have the entire series on DVD. Actually, now I can say I have seen every single Gamera film. It took a while, but the last one I had never seen was Super Monster Gamera, but it was included on this set. And I have now seen it. Now I have seen every Gamera movie. Super Monster Gamera was a piece of shit, but I've seen every Gamera movie. And before anybody asks, yes, I have seen Gamera the Brave, which was the newest one. So I have seen them all. My favorite Gamera films are these, the original, or the 90s Gamera trilogy, which I think is a high benchmark for kaiju films. Also, I've gotten a few people ask me about these films, and I had never seen them before. I still haven't seen them, but now I own them. The Daimajin trilogy. People have recommended them to me, and I'd never seen them before, but they're kaiju movies made by the same studio that made the Gamera films, with Akira Ifukube, the classic Godzilla composer, as the music composer for the film. So that's very fascinating to me. It's like, wait a minute, I get Gamera-style movies with Godzilla music. That's interesting. That's very interesting. And actually, I say Gamera-style movies, I mean more in the special effects production side of things. Like, tonally, they don't look like Gamera films at all, so they don't feel that way. So, yeah, those will be very interesting to check out. And also, there's Pacific Rim, which is the best Japanese movie made in America. How I always describe that film. And there's plenty of other kaiju films I have seen over the years. There's Atragon, which introduces Manda. There's Varan the Unbelievable. I've seen both versions, the Japanese and the American, which introduces Varan. King Kong Escapes, which introduces Gorosaurus, but also has King Kong fighting with his mechanical double, which is kind of neat. Dogoro the Space Monster. There's Frankenstein Conquers the World, which introduces Baragon. The Mysterians, which introduces Magura. Space Amoeba, which introduces a whole new gang of monsters. Even though it's technically not a giant monster movie, Matango I've seen, which is a classic. God, there's so many. There's even some outside of the kind of the Toho Dai spectrum. There's Gappa, or Monster from a Prehistoric Planet, the X from Outer Space, which is a piece of shit. There's Gorgo, which is basically British Godzilla. There's plenty. There's tons of them out. Youngari, which I believe was South Korean. I saw the remake of it when that first got released on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it was awful. But the original movie kind of has a quaint charm to it. And yeah, so I'm a big kaiju fan, to make my point clear. But if I was going to do something big leading into Shin Godzilla, I would have wanted it to be something related to Godzilla, not just a bunch of kaiju outside of the Godzilla realm. Although I guess if I wanted to talk about Godzilla, I could have also Talked about my many comic books and trade paperbacks about Godzilla. I own so many. I own the Marvel series. I own all of Rulers of Earth. I own Half Century War, which is my favorite. I own Godzilla in Hell, which is awesome. It's every bit as awesome as it sounds. Godzilla in Hell. I highly recommend it. I also own Godzilla Cataclysm. I also own the Legendary Pictures Godzilla Awakening, which is kind of meh. It's a prequel to the Legendary film, and it's like, it's okay. But yeah, I could have talked about the Godzilla comics, but like I said, I didn't really have a whole lot of time to do it. But I do want to talk about Shin Godzilla and provide a preview for it and encourage people to go see it if you're at all interested. Like I said, it's coming out October 11th through October 18th, so you have a week, so go check it out. It's already gotten some big screenings already, big releases, I think in LA and New York. And actually, James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd, I saw he posted a review of it, so I know he's already seen it. I refuse to watch the review until I've seen the film myself, because I don't want to have anything spoiled. And that's the thing. I don't want to give predictions on this movie because the movie's already been released in Tokyo, and it's already had some big... not Tokyo, just Tokyo. Japan, I should say. It's been released in Japan, was highly successful in Japan, and it's gotten a few big screenings already in America, so it's already been released, so me giving predictions on it would be foolish. I could go into the Wikipedia page and get a full plot summary, but I'm trying to avoid spoilers as much as possible. But what I do want to talk about is how exciting it is to get another Japanese Godzilla film so soon after the American version, and with the American version continuing its own series, we're getting Godzilla 2, which admittedly I'm a little worried about because Gareth Edwards is not coming back to direct, and I'm worried that the next movie is going to be like a Michael Bay Transformers movie, and I hope to God that doesn't happen. But I have this fear that they're going to take the criticism to heart that Godzilla wasn't in the movie enough in the last film, and they're going to go overboard in this one, and they're going to render Godzilla, not as cool, and they're going to render him meaningless by exposing him more and oversaturating the film with his presence. And that's the opposite of what I want. And but the end game there is to tie in with the new King Kong movie, Skull Island, which looks great. I saw the trailer, and of all the trailers that played at Comic-Con, everybody was going nuts over Wonder Woman and Justice League and a few of the other things that were coming out. I was like, fuck all that. I want to see King Kong. Skull Island looks great. And I'm excited about that, but the end game there is to eventually do King Kong versus Godzilla by 2020, and I would be very excited to see that. So if everything plays out as well as I hope it does, we're in a good place as kaiju fans. But given that Godzilla Resurgence, or Shin Godzilla, whatever you want to call it, I think the fact that Independence Day Resurgence was titled the way it was has kind of encouraged them not to call this movie Godzilla Resurgence when it got released into the States. But Shin Godzilla's fine. It's a fine title. I'm fine with it. It's Godzilla. That's all I need to know. It's the only part of the title I care about. It's got Godzilla in it. That's fine. But it's... Man, it's really exciting, and considering this movie was a big success in Japan, I gotta believe there've got to be sequels lined up. They've got to have ideas for sequels, because if they do, oh boy, 2 series of Godzilla films back, running at the same time, one American, one Japanese. And I'll be honest, I stand by my original feelings towards the 2014 film. I really enjoyed it. I've actually watched it recently, and I still enjoy it. There are problems with it. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I do enjoy the film. I do like the film. I wish more big blockbusters were like that movie in its approach, because far too often the obsession with CGI just kind of takes over, and they just do whatever the hell they want without any concerns for pacing or battle fatigue, which is something that Peter Jackson talked about when he made Two Towers. He was scared to death that with Helm's Deep, like people were going to get sick of seeing it because it was just going to go on for so long that it was just going to be, it was going to wear people out. And I thought Peter Jackson, that Helm's Deep thing was probably the best thing that, as far as big action sequences go, was the best thing that came out of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It still looks amazing. Of course, they didn't use much CGI either. That also helps. When you get to Palinor Fields in the third movie, you can tell that it's overly CGI, and it's not nowhere near as cool. Of course, sidebar, getting off track here, but yeah, it is really exciting to think that we are going to get a Japanese Godzilla series and an American Godzilla series running side by side with each other. One with Godzilla as the heroic creature and one with him as the bad guy. So I really I think that that's really interesting. And of course, if it's a Japanese Godzilla series, eventually Godzilla's going to become the good guy again, because that's how it always plays out. But it's it is very exciting, and I am very happy, and I'm gonna have a stupid, goofy grin on my face the entire time at that screening when I see it next Saturday. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be a blithering idiot the entire time. I do like that this film looks like it's trying to recapture the dread and the terror of the original 1954 film. There have been attempts at trying to do that, but not always successfully. And actually, I would argue never completely successfully. Godzilla 1984 had its moments, and it was a nice, honest-to-God effort at trying it. It didn't quite recapture it. The drama wasn't the same, even though there are some powerful visuals in it, and I like the political ramifications of the whole thing. It didn't quite recapture the same sense of dread and terror that the 1954 film did. Giant Monsters All Out Attack tried to do it, and in some ways was successful, but whenever Godzilla is fighting other monsters, that becomes kind of the focus, and you kind of lose sight of the... And I love it when he fights other monsters. I love that whole spectacle. But if you're having him fight other monsters, it's going to turn into an action-packed spectacle, and you kind of lose sight of the philosophical, political, spiritual, moral, and all the ramifications that go along with a Godzilla attacking. If you're going to recapture the original film, Godzilla has to be the only monster in the film. And Shin Godzilla, by all appearances, is doing that, and I'm very happy with that. And, listening to the Japanese trailers, I think the music sounds really great. I hope some of that music pops up in the film. Actually, I think it does, because I have listened to the soundtrack, so I think the music that's in the trailer does appear in the film, but I don't want to make assumptions until I've actually seen it. But, so if you're interested in checking out Shin Godzilla, or if you're a kaiju or Godzilla fan like I am, you have your chance to see something really cool, I think. I think this is going to be really cool. It looks sweet. I like Godzilla's new design. The zombie Godzilla look, I think, looks sweet, and they're clearly going for kind of a nightmare fuel version of Godzilla, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Hopefully everything comes together and we get a really good Japanese Godzilla film out of it. So, but yeah, I don't want to make any predictions or assumptions. I want to see the movie, and then I will definitely have a review of the movie up. So, but thank you so much to Funimation for bringing this film to America. And actually, that's another point I want to make. These screenings are going to be subtitled. They didn't dub the film, so it's all going to be subtitled in its original Japanese language, which has never happened with a Japanese Godzilla movie. It's always gotten dubbed whenever it gets released in the States. But so this is going to be a first. And so for those of you who are, subs over dubs, personally, my whole feeling on the subs over dubs thing, and especially looking at the Godzilla series, I don't really have a preference either way. I just want the movie to be good. There are some versions where I prefer the subtitled version, and there are some movies where I prefer the dub version. It just depends on how it's done. Mothra versus Godzilla, Godzilla versus the Thing here in America, I prefer the American version. I thought the dub was very good, and the added scene of the U.S. Navy attacking Godzilla makes it even better. So I prefer the American version of that film. The original 1954 Godzilla, I prefer the subtitled version. I think it's more pure. I think it's closer to the spirit of what the film was intending. And I think it's a much scarier and much more memorable movie. So, again, it depends on the execution. I don't really have a preference either way. But if you're a subs over dubs kind of guy, this movie's going to be subtitled. So, and that's a first for Godzilla films being released in the States. So that alone is actually pretty cool and pretty exciting. So, I'm going to be very happy going into the theater. Hopefully I'm happy when I walk out of the theater. And here's hoping for another really good Godzilla movie. And here's hoping it kicks off another Japanese string of films. Because to get 2 strings of Godzilla movies going on at the same time, I think would be super, super cool. So I'm really excited. But yeah, just wanted to preview the film and encourage others to go see it if they're interested. And yeah, I've got my ticket. Thank you to Fandango. I have it stored on my phone. God, I'm really excited. It's another Godzilla movie. God, I can't contain myself. I think I'm more excited for this than I was The Force Awakens. God, I love my kaiju. It's crazy. But in any case, yeah, that's all I have for you now. And I'll have more videos out throughout the week that are more wrestling related. Then after I see Shin Godzilla, there will definitely be a movie review where I talk about it. So until then, I will see you all later.